Ruchi, and that is one thing I forgot, but thank you for pointing it out.
Especially since we're not techie people.
Yes, yes. So, welcome everyone. You are joining us for our cook along. This is Divya from Infused Living, and this is our third cook along and second in the guest series. We started doing this at the beginning of the pandemic, just as a way for to get friends together and cook a delicious and healthy meal. And now we are having so much fun that I think we'll continue doing this at least once a month. And today I'm really excited about today. Our guest today is Ruchi Kalra. And a lot of you joining us know Ruchi, but I would like to say a few things about Ruchi also. She's multi-talented and gorgeous. Like, like seriously, what can you not do, Ruchi? Like seriously, I'm amazed at the things that I've known Ruchi for a while now, but I think we really connected, Ruchi, I would say, since in the last 6 months. Ruchi runs this food group on Facebook, and that really brought a lot of people together. We share our pictures of food that we cook, stories, and it just, I think it really helped me through this whole pandemic. And Ruchi has her own business called Dancing Raindrops, which helps small businesses tell their stories. And she's like really one of the most wonderful storytellers I know.
Oh, thank you.
Your storytelling session on for Valentine's Day was Ruchi, like the best I've heard. Like, you were so engaging, and the way you told the story was just amazing. So she loves to tell stories, write, and she has a blog called Footprint the World, where she likes to share her experiences of travel and cooking on Instagram and Facebook. So please, everyone, follow her on Instagram and Facebook, because I always am looking forward to seeing what, like, the pictures that you post. They're so exciting always, like your travel photos, your food photos. It just, yeah, it's always exciting to see what Ruchi is going to do next. And so I'm going to stop there. Like, I'll hand it over to Ruchi now. Ruchi, please take our viewers through what we are making today. I know you
Okay.
have something very special planned for us.
Yeah.
And over to you, Ruchi.
Okay. Thanks so much, Divya, for the intro. That was so, so sweet of you. There's a lot of things that I can't do, but yes, storytelling. I know growing up, my mom would always say when I would go home for the holidays, she'd be like, my God, you tell so many stories. And I finally realized what I can do with them, because I think, you know what, we're all storytellers. We all have stories. We do it when we're talking. Divya and I talked this morning. We're just all full of stories, and we just don't realize that we are, in fact, telling our own personal stories that make us who we are each and every single day. So yes, like she said, I do have a lifestyle blog called Footprint the World, and on Instagram and Facebook. So I basically started off with a lot of travel photos and my thoughts. Like people will even say, "Oh, Deep Thoughts" by RGK, which is basically my first, middle, and last name, Ruchi Garg Kalra. And so that's where that is. And I know when Divya asked me to do this, at first I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not a big life person. And she's like, no, we can do this, we can do this. So, and then we debated about what to make, and we thought, she loves, and like she mentioned in the cooking group, I think one of the first few recipes that I posted was the paella. And she said, oh, people love it, they've been posting, let's make that, because it's also something different than Indian food. And I have to say that before the pandemic, I think I made more Indian food, and now it's a lot of other different things. And so we've been traveling the world with different stuff. So let's get started. So what we're going to be making today is the paella, which is obviously, it originated in Spain. And Divya and I have to say this as a disclaimer. We're not saying that this is the most original, perfect Spanish paella recipe. Neither one of us is claiming to be that. We were just two friends who've created our own recipe, and people love it, and so we're sharing it. And so if you are from Spain, or you've been to Spain and you think, my God, this is not what you do, we apologize in advance. And maybe you could message us and let us know what we can do differently next time so we can improve it, because only sometimes people who are from the region know the true recipes. But again, if you look up paella, there's a million ways to cook it online.
No,
So
well said, Ruchi. But what I want to tell our viewers is this has become a regular at our house, and that's why I suggested Ruchi make this. But whatever it is, like paella is a name, it is delicious.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So you're going to love what you cook today.
Yeah, so I told my mom like another story that, oh, and we're making paella, and she's like, what is that? So I told her. She goes, oh, it sounds like pulao. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. It is like a pulao.
Yeah, but when
It's got such a different flavor.
yeah, although like in biryani you can put saffron sometimes, like kesar, but I felt like the taste with the different vegetables here in paella was completely different. Like, I
Yeah.
felt I was eating a different dish.
Yeah, and I think even the ingredients that we use just adds a whole different flavor.
Yes.
That actually the first time I'd made it, my husband was like, wait, it actually tastes like paella. I'm like, well, yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes.
supposed to. So, but let's get started because I know it's going to get into dinner time and then people are going to get hungry. So we should get
This is
started.
perfect.
And
Perfect.
just remember, I have never done this before. So just be patient with me. So
No, and Ruchi, I'm going to watch you do this. I'll ask you I'm not cooking, guys, today because I want to take the time to answer your questions. Well, with Ruchi's help, and so I'm not cooking. Ruchi's cooking, and please follow her and ask your questions via your messages on Facebook. And
so
I'm
if you have any questions, do submit them in the chat or have,
in the
as
chat.
you're cooking, have your kids or your husband maybe type it out. And so just remember, we're doing this for fun and we're going to just have a good time. So.
Yes, and we have lots of people joining us. Lots of people. Please give us a thumbs up if you're cooking with us. Just a thumbs up. Like, if you're cooking, we would love to know how many people are cooking. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
So let's start off. So if everyone's ready, Divya, like, is everyone ready? Should we get started? Okay.
I think we should get started.
Okay, so let's start off with, let's just go through the steps real quick. So we're gonna turn on the oven, get that started for our tofu salsa, our appetizer that we're gonna be making. And then we'll marinate the tofu. And then as that's marinating, we'll get started with the paella. Once the paella is cooking, then we'll move on to putting the tofu on our tray and putting it in the oven. And then we can chit chat a little bit, and that's about it. And then you guys get to get off and enjoy the dinner with your family.
Yes. So this will be perfect dinner time. So let's get started.
So let's get started. So I'm gonna go turn the oven on and I'll be right back.
So the oven is going to be turned on at 350?
Yes, go ahead, Divya.
Okay, the oven is going to be turned on at 300.
Do it at 400.
Okay, I'm sorry, not 350, make it 400 degrees, please. So turn on your ovens to 400 degrees. So that's going to preheat as we do some other things.
And make sure there's nothing in your oven, true Desi style.
Yes, always. Like pull out all the pots and pans.
People who don't know, that is another storage area for Indian people. But anyway, okay, so let's get started with marinating the tofu. If you haven't cut the tofu, or if you have, hopefully you have your tofu cut up in triangles. If you haven't, I can show you real quick how to cut it. So if this is a block, make sure you drain. I don't know, you can't even see it. Here, let's see. If make sure you have it drained. Can you see it on here now? You can see it on that chopping board. And so you're just gonna cut it in triangles. So I usually get like 4 out of like that, just like that. So I'll get 4 out of each block, and we have in our tofu. So we have our 3 tablespoons of salsa, which I have right here. And if you like to add a little bit of more spice than just sriracha, you can, hold on a second. So I'm putting in 2 teaspoons of sriracha.
The hotter, the better for me, Ruchi.
The what?
The hotter, the
The
better.
hotter, the better for you. So you know what? You can even add some sambal. I know not exactly a very Spanish sauce and more Indonesian, but it just adds that. I think we use sambal for everything.
Oh, yeah,
And
I
you know
love
what?
the
You could
one.
even add, if you wanted to, you could even add this um, sauce that we're going to be adding later for our paella. And I am going to put 1 tablespoon of olive oil.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna sprinkle it. No, I'm gonna just put it in the sauce, honestly.
So Ruchi, Deepa had asked if homemade or store-bought salsa. I just answered saying either is fine.
Yes. Honestly, from the cooking group, one of my favorite salsas that I follow is Kavita Agrawal's recipe. And it has become a standard in my house.
Right,
Like
right,
we haven't been honestly buying salsa because it's so good. So
right.
with that, then put in, we're gonna add in some of your garlic, which I already have chopped. Hope you guys do as well. So I'm gonna add in 2 teaspoons, and hopefully I'm following along, or 3 garlic minced, but what I figured out, it's about a teaspoon each, depending on the size of the clove.
Right.
And we're gonna put in some black pepper, a pinch of black pepper. And we have, okay, our paprika powder.
Paprika is very Spanish, right, Ruchi?
And that is exactly, I think, what gives our more of that Spanish flavor that we like. But again, if you don't like it and it's too strong for you, don't put that much, put less.
Right.
One of the other things that I learned through COVID as I was cooking all these different dishes is I thought, oh, we're the only people who use cumin and coriander powders. And I realized we are not the only people.
Right.
So, and we're gonna add in about 2 to 4 teaspoons of cumin powder, depending again how you like it and how much tofu you had. I didn't do the whole box just because we recently had tofu the other day. So I'm adding, so my sauce and my tofu is a little bit less, but about 2 to 4 teaspoons of cumin powder, 3 even. And then we are going to, oh, you know what I forgot is lemon juice. Well, lemon juice, we'll do it later. And then I'm just going to marinate it.
Yeah,
I don't know if
would
you
you
can see.
mind? Yes, that's great. That's great.
Is that better?
Yes,
So
great.
I'm just gonna pour it on here. If I'm moving too fast or moving too slow, let me know. Because it's not like I'm used to having an audience while I cook.
No, you are doing great, Ruchi.
So, and then you just kind of mix it up gently so you don't break up the tofu. You know, and honestly, you could, if someone had asked me, actually my daughter had said, because she loves paneer, she's like, could we do this with paneer, which is like the Indian cottage cheese? And I said, yeah, why not? We could definitely give it that Spanish flavor if someone in your house doesn't like tofu or is allergic to tofu or trying to avoid tofu in your
Ruchi, I
house.
have a question. Rupa is asking, what if we are not using tofu? Rupa, are you, this is a separate,
Oh, yes. Yeah. This is just for the appetizer. I'm sorry, Rupa. This is an appetizer that we're making called tofu mi salsa because we wanted to have some sort of a little appetizer. Not that we do this every day when we do our everyday cooking, but you know, just for something fun. And we thought while the paella is cooking, this is something that we could work on. So that's what that is. So if you see
Rupa,
mine,
yeah, if you don't have tofu, don't worry, that's a whole separate dish.
yeah.
Just follow along for the paella, which is coming up next.
Right. And honestly, even with the paella, if there is a vegetable that you don't have, and if you don't like mushrooms, you don't like mushrooms. Like, you know, it's okay. So I'm just going to set this aside and let it sit and marinate. And so let's get started. So the 2 things that we first have to do with the paella is we have to simmer our broth. And it's about 2.5 cups of veggie broth. So I have mine, measured out in the fridge. I will do that.
So guys, go ahead and get 2.5 cups of veggie broth. or stock. So I see, Ruchi, you have homemade.
No, it is not homemade.
Okay, because I do not do homemade either. So
yeah, no, but you know, it is very easy to do a homemade one. The other thing you could do is take, which I have done before, is as you're chopping all your veggies, just keep them. Keep all the stalks, keep the peppers, throw in a jalapeno and let it simmer. And honestly, that's your veggie broth.
I know, Ruchi, but we'll talk about that when we are in the free time that we have when our thing is cooking.
Yeah, but that is if someone doesn't want to, because I know there's a lot of people who don't want to use canned goods or it's extra sodium, any of that stuff. They can make their own. And so in this, we're gonna put saffron. We are gonna put in some saffron threads. And it's about 1 to 2 teaspoons. It's up to you, honestly, how much you like. So I have my saffron here. And the other one thing that if you have, and if you don't have, I know a lot of the Indian kitchens do, is bay leaves. So I actually get fresh bay leaves that look like that, and smells so good. So you can throw those in there as well.
So guys, it was my bad. I don't think I had bay leaves in the ingredient list. So if you have dry bay leaves in your kitchen, I know a lot of Indian households.
If you don't, that's okay.
I've honestly made it without bay leaves. Like I somehow didn't read your recipe too well, Ruchi. But if you do, please go and throw in a.
So basically, I have it. I don't think you can see, but I have it simmering, and I have the saffron threads in there and the bay leaves, and I'm just gonna leave it on medium heat. Is that what you do, Divya, as well? Medium, just let it simmer. Like, no science to that for me. Just to let the flavors infuse. We're infusing for infused living, so we're infusing that. Okay, so the other thing is, so paella. Actually, the word paella means frying pan in Valencian. So that is actually from a region of Spain. So you can use any wide mouth pan, or if you have a paella pan, which I don't know if you can tell, but this is a paella pan. So I am not using that for my cooking, as I've never used that before. So I'm just using it to hold my vegetables. So let's turn that on medium heat.
Yeah.
And we are gonna add in, I'll let you guys get your stuff together. We're gonna add in.
The pan is on medium heat, guys.
And I'm gonna add in about maybe 1.5 tablespoons of, as if you know, mostly Indian cooking is so hard to do it measured. We just throw it in. So, but maybe about 1 to 1.5, depending on your version of olive oil. I like to use extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
And I'm just.
But honestly, I would say, like, you know, for our viewers, any cooking oil is fine, correct, Ruchi?
Yes, any cooking oil is fine. But it's like when you make Asian food, it's the sesame oil enhances that flavor, or peanut oil. It's the same thing with olive oil. I think I've bought more oils during COVID than I have ever before.
We've all become experts in the different ingredients. And
so I am gonna start off with, hopefully you have all your vegetables cut. So actually again, like as I was telling Divya, it doesn't really matter what vegetables you use. These are the ones that Divya and I have suggested. And I don't think Divya has listed asparagus.
I think I have in the notes below.
Okay. But for me, we love asparagus in our house.
I always have
I like chop them up. So I have my asparagus, I've got my tomatoes, my peppers, I've got my mushrooms. So I'm gonna start off with throwing, and I do have a jar of my artichokes that we absolutely love as well. So I'm gonna throw my onions in here, and they're gonna just sizzle. And most of these vegetables, you're not gonna cook for too long. I kind of like them crispy because they're also gonna cook with the rice. So you wanna make sure that you're not like sauteing them where it's like, where they're really, really cooked. So we're gonna keep them a little bit So if you can tell, I have my onions in here. We're gonna saute them. And after a few minutes is when we'll just start adding our veggies. So
Ruby's asking if we want to add shrimp to this. Can you tell when to add that?
okay, so if you're gonna add shrimp, so what I would do, so I would pre-saute the shrimp with maybe a little bit of garlic ahead of time. I know another one of my friends had also asked about that. So I would kind of lightly saute them ahead of time and keep it aside. And then once we get to the stage of getting done with the vegetables, or even when we're adding, because they'll be pretty much pre-cooked, you're gonna add it in after we just put in the vegetables, or even maybe just a little bit later because we don't wanna make the shrimp chewy. Yes. And also if you're doing any type of chicken or something, you can. I have a daughter that's completely vegetarian and a son who recently went back to eating meat. So most of my cooking is still vegetarian. And if I do use some sort of chicken or something, I will use pre-cooked because it's just easier for me, then I don't have to cook it. So those are just a few things. And my onions are looking pretty good for me to add the next one. So I don't know about you guys. So hopefully that is. So let's add in I'm gonna just add in my asparagus.
So the two veggies that I always have in my paella are artichokes and asparagus.
Yes. So, oh yeah, and also red peppers.
Okay, yeah.
So I add my red peppers. It just starts turning. It's just a beautiful color and flavors. So when do you add the artichoke, Divya?
I added I almost, after the onions, I almost add all the veggies.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly. So I'm adding in my mushrooms. I'm gonna add in my garlic as well. And sometimes you think, wow, that looks like a lot of garlic, but honestly, depending on your flavor, if you don't like garlic, don't do garlic. Seriously, like I didn't grow up eating garlic. My mom doesn't use too much garlic in her cooking. So she probably hasn't eaten this much garlic in her whole life that I just put in the paella. So,
really?
yeah. So it's just, everybody is so different. And then I'm gonna put in my artichoke as well.
Yes.
And I just use like a jar kind of artichoke, honestly, because I'm not educated enough or have enough knowledge to use the fresh kind. I wouldn't even know what to do.
Ruchi, that is the only vegetable I haven't bought fresh.
I did buy it once, but just for decor.
Scares me. Even when I look at the videos, they scare me.
So maybe that should be our next recipe.
Maybe I need to tackle that.
Yeah, getting out of our comfort zone.
Yes.
I like my veggies to be a little bit cooked before I end up putting the tomatoes. I don't know about you, Divya, just because I feel then it gets soggy.
Right.
So, and then if you, honestly, I know this wasn't in there, but if you like it spicy even more so, the taste of fresh jalapenos is something else. So you can definitely add that to your...
So guys, if you have a fresh jalapeno at home, go grab it from your refrigerators and just give it a nice chop, like around.
And I usually will just slice them,
right,
and throw them in.
So
and I keep them big so then the kids can take them out.
Yes, that's a great idea. And keep in mind who's going to eat this, like, and what level of spice they like.
Exactly.
Okay, Rupa's asking us to go a bit slower.
So how's everybody's veggies looking? Are they looking good?
A couple of things, Ruchi. Rupa's asking us to go a bit slower. And Vijeta's asking, when do we add peas? I'll let you answer. Vijeta's asking, when do we add peas?
Oh, peas are going to be all the way in the end. So please don't add the peas yet. Once the water or the broth has pretty much evaporated in the paella is when we add it, because peas cook very quickly. So we are just going to basically add that in the very end, and that's it. And the whole thing with paella that I also learned, I'm going to add in my tomatoes, guys. because I'm getting to that point where otherwise it's going to be a, so I've added that in.
So for the viewers' benefit, Ruchi, let's just recap everything we have done so far. So in the oil went the onions, they were sauteed. All the veggies, minus the peas and the tomatoes, went next, and the garlic went in. After the veggies were sauteed a little, Ruchi just put in the chopped tomatoes, and we also had an
extra your broth as well. Make sure that it's not boiling over. Just keep it on. By now, I've kind of turned it to a little bit lower because it's boiling.
right.
And it's getting this beautiful color. I know Divya wanted to make a comment about the broth.
Let's wait until we'll have some time when the rice is cooking.
Yeah, we can talk about it then, right? Yeah.
So the broth, of course, the saffron, I'm pretty sure it's giving a nice color to the broth and the fragrance.
So,
and keep your questions coming.
There are questions coming in, huh?
Keep your questions coming. I'm telling everyone, just ask questions. So, and I hope your rice was soaked for a bit. I mentioned in the ingredients, but
honestly, Divya, even that, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
It's actually okay. So usually, and again, because we have been in quarantine time, Divya and I, usually the rice that you use is called bomba, which is paella rice. But Divya and I honestly wanted most ingredients that we have in our kitchen. And so I know we're going to be doing it with basmati. Absolutely not what people say you should do, because you need like a medium grain or a short grain rice for that.
Yeah, it's different from even an arborio. I've actually never bought it myself. The bomb.
This whole thing is we can pretty much say middle of the afternoon, hey, what do we want to eat? Let's eat paella. Okay, we can do this. And you don't have to have a whole 2-pound bag of rice for 1 cup or 2 cups, whatever. So my veggies are looking pretty good. So I'm going to add in my turmeric and my paprika. So it's 1 teaspoon of paprika. I love my little spice holder. It's from Morocco. And I'm going to put in my turmeric, which I already had measured, about a 1/4 teaspoon. And there was a few saffron strands in here that were stuck, which is fine, which is great. It just adds additional flavor.
So what spices did you put in, Ruchi? Turmeric and?
I put in turmeric and I put in paprika.
Paprika.
Yes. Did I do it right?
Yeah. No, I was kind of going over.
We're going to put in our hot pepper sauce. And I think we have in the recipe like 1 tablespoon, but it's truly up to you. My family likes it a little bit spicy, so it might be 1.5, but Divya, it might be 3. So
yeah,
you can.
And
the sauce that we use, I know you can't see it. Divya, you want to just tell them what it is?
It is the La Bomba sauce from Trader Joe's, but you really don't need that. You can use, again, you can substitute sriracha for it. Correct, Ruchi? Like any hot sauce that you have.
Yes. I wouldn't use sriracha, but I would find some other like a red pepper sauce.
Okay.
I think sriracha has a very distinct
Asian
taste. So I think it would add a whole different level to it. So my veggies are looking kind of like that.
So
and
spices. Did you mean black pepper or the red pepper? If you're talking about red pepper, it already went in with the other veggies a few minutes ago. So,
okay.
And I don't think there's any black pepper.
No, I think they're talking about the red pepper sauce.
Oh, the red pepper sauce? Yes. She just said pepper too, ? So I'm not sure what the question is, but yes, we put the pepper sauce in, we put the red peppers in, but no black pepper.
Yeah. We put black pepper later. I usually put salt and black pepper towards the end,
Okay.
just because I don't want my veggies to give,
Right.
have all that water come out. So I think my veggies look really good. How about everyone else's? I'm kind of
Guys,
ready.
would you mind giving a thumbs up to where you guys are, like at a good stage? And if Ruchi can continue, we just don't want to go very fast. Okay, Rupa said
Yeah.
okay. If you wouldn't mind just like, giving us or telling your kids to just
Well,
go.
they're trying to cook.
Look, I know, I'm like telling the kids to go over the computer, just give us a thumbs up. Anyway, I think like, Ruchi, we've been doing a good job like following. So let's go ahead and like, do the rice thing.
Okay, so I have my rice, which was soaking, and honestly, there's not much water left. And so I take the rice out without the water. And honestly, if you do not have it soaked, it is fine. I think this is a very Indian thing. We cannot not wash our rice or have it soaked, um, but I think, and it also just depends on the type of rice, because I think Spain has like 3 or 4 different kinds of rice, and it all depends on how long what grain it is that it cooks.
Right.
I think in our households, we're just so used to cooking with basmati rice, but that even, I think recently I've bought sushi rice, and I've bought all kinds of rice that I haven't bought in a long time. So you're gonna stir in the rice and just kind of without the water, let it cook. Mine is not sizzling as I would like it to. I think I had turned down my heat a little bit too much because we were talking.
Right.
So, but usually you could even do this step a little bit faster, because I just didn't want my veggies to overcook, so I turned down. But now that I've turned it back up, I can hear the veggies and the things sizzling again. So the whole thing is, once you stir the rice now, you're really not going to be stirring it again. It's even kind of like pilau or biryani. You're not going to be like because that will break the grains of the rice. So I have that ready. Actually, I'm going to put some of the salt and pepper per taste. So it depends on you. So I'm just going to, I usually will put like maybe a couple of pinches and salt, and then just stir it. And by this time, your broth should be ready to go. So I am going to turn down, and I'm going to pour in my broth.
So Rupa's asking to repeat the rice step, please.
Okay, so you take the rice out of the bowl, like, so you had it soaked, and even if you don't, that's fine. It's kind of like you're going to do a dry saute of the rice with the vegetables. So there's no water in here. So even if you had your rice soaking in water, do not put it all in. Just take the rice out and put it in, and then just give it a quick saute. So it kind of infuses with the flavors, and I like that infuses. I use it so much. So Rupa, I hope that was clear. And now I'm going to pour my broth straight into the thing, into my pan. Divya, am I missing anything? Have I missed anything?
No, I think this is great.
Okay, and so here we go, guys. I love the look of the bay leaves. And if you feel like the water is too much, or I'm sorry, the broth, don't, just hold off a little bit, don't put all of it, depending on your size of the pan. And sometimes the saffron threads get to the bottom, so you can just kind of pull them in.
Yeah, you don't want to miss any of the saffron threads.
Yes, because it's expensive enough, and
exactly. You want to use every last bit.
Yeah. So I am going to leave this on medium heat, and it's looking really good. I hope yours is looking good as well. So all your veggies are like on top, and all we have left now is peas. And if you've thrown the peas in, not a big deal, but you should have. We'll do that in the end. So we're going to do that later. Oh, and this is what the paella pan looks like.
Oh yeah, nice, Ruchi.
So,
but this will make a lot of paella.
Yes. So this is it says only about 4 to 6 people because it's very thin.
Okay.
But maybe it's not 4 to 6 people in my house, but maybe more.
Right. So Ruchi, I just want to How's your, do you have it on medium or medium
I
high?
have it on medium, about medium.
About medium. So just
Medium.
make sure, because that's a very critical thing when you're
Yeah,
cooking.
but again, it'll depend on your stovetop.
Yes.
Because I know when Divya and I were talking, like my little burners here have a very different heat than my middle one, which is the bigger one, which is what I usually use for something like this. But like if I'm making some of my Indian dishes in a smaller pan, I use this.
Right.
So it just depends. And that's the other thing, I decided not to use the paella pan because that usually you cook it on the grill outside. So you can actually take that paella pan or even your pan, this one, and do it on the grill. I know Divya has, they grill a lot. So you can actually do this on the grill.
You know, this winter, Ruchi, we are going to try a lot more things outdoors.
Yes, it is a lot of fun. So
It's
we're not even going to cover this, guys. We're just going to let it be. And I would keep it like on medium heat. And it's, Divya, you want to time us? Like we're thinking maybe 10 to 12 minutes, maybe not.
So, okay, we started a minute ago. So
yeah. The other thing is you guys have to be careful. I don't know if like, it's like Persian food. There's a perfect consistency of rice where it can, I know in Indian cooking, your rice should never be stuck to the bottom. Whereas in Spanish cooking, they have a word, I don't remember the exact word, it's like with an S, but it just gets a little bit of crispiness, which is actually considered a delicacy. Like people love it, and they have it even in Persian food. Which people...
Ruchi, we do have a question from Gurmeet. She's asking, should we add the shrimp?
Oh, yes. So if you have, I would add the shrimp now. If you had it pre-cooked already.
Okay.
And any other protein if you
had it pre-cooked.
Yes, if you had it pre-cooked. I think she did because we talked about it. So hopefully she pre-cooked it. And then I feel like my water may be boiling a lot faster than you guys'. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit more.
So just keep an eye on the rice because
yes,
you don't want the rice undercooked either.
Yes.
And in my experience, Ruchi, I always end up using the 2.5 cups of broth. Like, you know, so just
yeah.
To,
so it just depends. So I just had a little bit of broth left, but I felt like it was going too fast, so I added the remaining bit in. Okay, so while this is cooking, let it be. Let's get with our tofu. So we have...
Let's get the tofu in the oven because Gurmeet had asked and I said, hold off.
Like, yeah. So I have my tray. I lined it up just because it's easier to clean for me and all of that stuff. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the science behind all of that. So I'm just a cook.
Little less cleanup, I guess.
So, and I have my tofu that was marinating. So I'm gonna grab, where is my... So maybe just grab your tofu, everybody, and maybe just, we're gonna make sure we line them like single, so they're not like over on, and we're not just gonna dump it in. So you're really just gonna like place them on your tray in like a single file. Sometimes the other thing I'll do is after I make the sauce, and since this is not meat, I will lick the sauce just a little bit, like to see how the flavors are. Does it need more salt? Does it need more pepper? And we're gonna put some lemon juice in the end, which I just realized I forgot to prep in my cutting. So, but that's okay.
I always think like it's better at the end. It just gives that freshness.
Yes, I always do, but put it in the end.
Rupa saying, looks like I missed the salt. Rupa, are you talking about the paella? You can, while the rice is simmering.
Yeah, you can still put it in there.
And black pepper right now.
Yes.
That's not a big
I wouldn't stir the rice anymore.
Yes. Just sprinkle it on top according to your taste.
Yeah.
And then it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah. So I have a little bit of like my salsa garlic mixture left. I just kind of sometimes put it on, or even sometimes when we turn it over. So I'm gonna get this in the oven, and I'm sure you guys probably have a lot more tofu than I do, so it may take you a few minutes longer than mine. My vegetarian daughter is not a big fan of tofu.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but anyway, my paella is smelling so good. I'm gonna get this in the oven, and hopefully you guys are too. So,
okay. Yeah, so everyone, hopefully your oven's preheated to 400 degrees now, and you can go ahead and put your marinated tofus in the oven. And Ruchi, about how much time in the oven if they want to set the oven?
I'm gonna do about 12 to 15 minutes. I think ideally I would do 12 minutes, turn it over, do another 12 minutes, but depending again on your, what crispiness you like. The other thing I wanted to mention is, which I didn't do, is you can add some cornstarch to your mixture if you would like. I know a lot of people don't like that cornstarch, but you can take some cornstarch, mix it in your sauce, and then put it on, and it'll give it just a little bit more of that crispy flavor that some people like. So my rice is
A lot of
cooking really
cornstarch
good.
in the tofu, so yeah.
Yeah. It just depends on what kind of cornstarch you like. The other thing we can do right now is, if you, while we're waiting for the rice to cook, we're waiting for the tofu to cook, is I have prepped this. Sometimes I will do an extra of the salsa and keep it on the side. Is I have my plate ready, which is I've got like shredded lettuce, shredded cabbage, green cabbage, shredded red cabbage, and with like some sprinkles of pomegranate just to add some color. So I don't know if you can see, like
Ruchi, your presentation is always like fantastic. I was just pull out
that's
something.
the fun part, right? That's the creative part. And honestly, if we had cooked our paella in a paella pan, traditionally when Vivek and I were in Spain, they serve the whole pan on the table. But again, this is not the pan that I would do it in. So I just wanted to show you ideas. Is I have a platter, which is like a wide mouth platter, and it's funky. And you know what? Just get creative. Like honestly, to me, more than cooking is what it looks like in the end and how I can serve it, because that's the fun part. So you can put it in here.
Pictures with your presentations are always just
Yeah. So, you know, in our old house, we didn't have a pantry, and now we do. So yes, I'm so excited that I get to keep all of them.
I think our old house had a pantry and this house doesn't, Ruchi.
Oh my God.
I do not have a pantry.
So I have a friend that I always tease with, and I'll go to our house, well, pre-COVID, and be like, oh, I'm sorry, where's your pantry? Because we both went through that whole of not having a pantry together. But I seriously love to plate, and anything, paneer, wings, anything that you're doing, throw some cabbage on there, throw a little bit of red cabbage on there, and sprinkle some pomegranate seeds. I had, I think it was Gauri or someone one time, I posted a recipe and she goes, why did you throw pomegranate seeds on there? I'm like, because they're pretty. It adds color to anything to me.
I can't wait for pomegranate season now, Ruchi, because a lot of our friends will start having pomegranates now in the next episode.
So I think I'm getting to this stage where I should put my peas in. I don't know about you guys, but my broth is pretty much evaporated.
Okay, so if your broth is pretty much, if you don't see much
liquid around, you know what? Take a fork, just lightly look and see. Well, you know what? I take that back. There's still a lot of broth. See, I had to test it out. So
what Ruchi's saying is she still has a lot of broth left. So she's still going to let it go.
Yeah, so I'm just going to let it be. I'm not going to and usually you put the peas and then you cover it, like maybe just before it's done. And we cover it in the end after we turn it off, and then let it just sit there and settle, and then just get the flavors in and soak it in. Right. So honestly, I know you probably think that this is a very complicated, and once you make it a couple of times, I know Divya's probably made it a lot more during the pandemic than I have. It's very simple. It's literally cutting a few vegetables and throwing it in.
And just adjust it according to your taste and what you like.
Yes, for sure.
So those are some beautiful flowers back there, I see.
Oh, thank you. So those are my gladiolas. So honestly, they say, diamonds are a girl's best friend. For me, it's flowers. I don't wait for my husband or anyone to buy me flowers. I just go buy them because they make me happy.
Good for you.
And I don't think there's usually ever on my counter when it's not there. And these are amazing at Trader Joe's. They're $5.99 a dozen. You mix and match, and you literally just get a big old vase, and put it, and it just adds to the ambiance of your kitchen.
You know, Trader Joe's is just great, Ruchi. Like
Yes.
there are so many things in there. In this whole pandemic, I did not go grocery shopping at all except for Trader Joe's.
Oh, wow.
Like I did go like every 2 weeks I need my Trader Joe's fix. There's so
Oh,
many
that's
things that are
great.
exclusively bought from there. Like, maybe that's just a whole different discussion thing,
Yeah.
including that La Bomba sauce.
Other places that I absolutely has been, and when I don't like to go to a place, I just say I'm allergic to it. Like I'm allergic to the gym. I'm
Jim.
allergic to Costco. I'm probably one of the few Desi Indian people who are allergic to Costco, but
You know,
I,
I got allergic to Costco now because I got used to their online Instacart ordering, and
yeah.
I just got an order today, Ruchi, and I don't feel like I want to go to Costco anymore.
Because I end up going for, a pasta sauce or not even something, and we come back with $500 worth of stuff. And, right now I just don't need all that stuff. So
Yeah, like so Trader Joe's is the only store. Of course, they don't deliver, not on Instacart, nothing. You have to go in.
I do love, there's a store near Divya and I, which I don't know if she's been to. It's called Winco. And I absolutely,
I don't live very close to Winco. But on the East Coast,
so yeah, it's closer to me. It's like a 2-minute drive, but I would never go to Winco because they only take a debit card. And that was always like, oh, debit card, but it's amazing. I love it. The fresh bay leaves, the fresh cilantro, the fresh, honestly, some of the freshest produce.
right? Okay, years ago when I used to live on the East Coast, they had Wincos there, and now I think they're trying to open Wincos in the Valley. But I will have to make myself go in there one day.
So my water is evaporating really well. I know I can't show it to you guys because we had to set the camera, but I don't know if you can see. And I'm not going to stir it because you want the vegetables to kind of have that perfect look. And if you had shrimp or chicken or everything, it should have nicely simmered in. Even if it's pre-cooked, it's not going to overcook it.
Right.
And I honestly can't tell you if you were to cook chicken from scratch and do it, that's something you're going to have to look up. So I don't want to steer you wrong in that. And I think I'm going to throw in my veggies depending on
The peas.
Yeah, sorry. What did I say?
Veggies.
Veggies. I meant peas. And if you don't like peas, don't throw them in. Honestly, that's something that I have learned with any of these. If you don't like mushroom, you don't like mushroom. You're not going to like your paella. Don't throw mushroom.
Absolutely.
You don't like red peppers. Don't throw red peppers. And you kind of just lay them a little bit on top and spread them out.
So Ruchi, I have to say, when I first made your paella recipe, this is the step I loved the most.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just felt like fancy doing it, or I don't know how to describe it, but I'm like, oh,
I think that's been the most thing through this pandemic. I know in our household we've made, we've made Chinese and Thai, and I have a friend who sent me a list of all her ingredients that she's found all vegetarian, like even the fish sauces and everything. And she's like, this is what you need to go buy. And so I don't know if you're watching tonight, Dimple, that was a shout out to you. But anyway, so great. And we even made Ethiopian food. I became adventurous and tried Ethiopian food.
I did see that.
Yeah, and it was interesting because, when the family member says it, like, so my husband Vivek said about a week ago, he goes, when are we having Ethiopian again? You're like, yes, that was a success. That means it was good. They weren't just saying it, that it was good. So I'm going to go check on my tofu, and I think so should you guys.
Are we covering the paella?
Oh, yes, we should cover the paella. So usually another thing, paella pans don't come with covers, and that's okay. So you can either use foil, or you can, if you have a cover that fits your pan, you can do that. So luckily I have one that fits, it's not for it, but it fits somewhat well. But I haven't turned it off yet, Divya, though. So okay. I'm going to wait just a few more minutes till my broth completely is gone. And the other thing you can do is, because our rice you don't want the rice to be completely cooked. Is you can just test it out to see if it's soft. And I think mine still needs a little bit more cooking. So I'm going to turn the heat down because everybody's stovetop is different.
Yes.
And so just make sure you don't want mushy rice, but at the same time, you don't want undercooked rice. So it's just that perfect.
For the Indians, you definitely don't want khichdi.
Yeah, you don't want khichdi, exactly. So I'm gonna go check on my tofu. I see that it's been going for about 10 minutes now. I just wanna see how it looks and I'll be right back while Divya entertains you.
And Ruchi, while you're gone, I hope you can hear me, but the tofu thing, like, you know, I know you can, people who are very used to air fryers, I know I am not adept at an air fryer. I do own one, but I don't make too many things in the air fryer. This is something that you could try in an air fryer.
The other thing I do is serve the tofu. In the meantime, if you're looking for something to do, not today, but any other day, you can make like a drizzle. So I have like a cilantro, lime, green onion drizzle that I feel like a lot of people have loved it. And honestly has become like a salad dressing in our house. And I'll kind of show you, if I can, what it looks like. It's really green. And one more thing, when Divya and I were talking, so you know when you use green onions and you take the top off, you just put the bottoms in a mason jar. And honestly, put it on your dining table. It's perfect green, it's decor, and it's literally from farm or table to mouth. So my husband plucks it off and puts it in his salad.
You know, that's a great idea, Ruchi. I have some green onions in the fridge right now, and I'm going to, after we get off, do that.
Yeah, and so honestly, all you need is green onions, a little, maybe one or two cloves of garlic, and some Greek yogurt, just like a quarter cup, and put it in there. Blend it in your Ninja, and we make it every like 2-3 days for salad. Oh, my timer is beeping for 12 minutes.
Okay.
Can I grab my gloves?
So it looks like, guys, if you guys have questions, this is a really good time to ask. And Ruchi is such an expert. Ask her anything, and she'll have an answer for you.
No. Divya, should we turn them over? I usually turn them over. I don't know if we have enough time to turn.
Yeah, I think we have enough time, Ruchi. Why don't we turn it over, even if it's for a few minutes, and then let people decide what they, how they want their tofu, like the crispiness level.
Yeah, mine, yeah. So honestly, when on a real good day, do it for like 15 minutes and 15 minutes.
Okay.
What I would say.
So guys, right now, like pull your tofu out and turn it over to the other side.
Or they can wait a couple of minutes, and if they want to like really crispy, like do it the way you think you like it.
Right. So guys, let it cook to your liking. Like, you know, even if we get off the live show, like, you know, you can still cook your tofu a little longer. No big deal. You can eat your appetizer after your paella.
Yeah, or you can eat it along with it. So my paella, the water is pretty much all gone. I'm gonna turn it off.
Okay. So just check your paella. If your water is
everybody else how theirs is doing, Divya.
So yeah, if you can let us know how your paella is doing with the broth, like, you know, so Ruchi just covered hers and turned the stove off because the water has evaporated. Now we just need the rice to fluff up a little. You
know what? I'm gonna give it just maybe 1 more minute before I turn it off.
Okay. So she hasn't done that yet.
Tell this is not a science for me.
Exactly. No, you really, I wish we could see everyone's kitchens to see how.
No, it would have been nice if actually we could have done it on Zoom and we could have seen each other.
But then we all would be tiny.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So I have to say that I have loved cooking since I was really young, and my friends think I'm crazy. So they're like, oh, let's just make something simple. But I'm like, oh, let me look up this recipe and make this. And then you take like 4 different recipes and make it your own. Like someone even said, how did you make Ethiopian food? Like I said, I've only eaten it, but I know what I like to eat.
Right, right, right.
And you're like, oh, I don't like this, or I don't like this. And if you're looking for any of those recipes, do look it up on my blog, or you can make your own, grab mine, grab 4 others and make it your own. Because honestly, I think cooking is such a creative process of your own.
Like I always, Ruchi, look for inspiration, like, and then, like, just modify it to your liking. And the ingredients you have at home sometimes. I don't go run and buy 10 different ingredients. I look for what I have at home and then go from there sometimes.
I wish I could say that for COVID, because I bought a lot more ingredients than I have ever before in my life, just from sauces and stuff, more for Asian food than anything else. So, and so I've turned mine off.
Some of the comments that came. When Gurmeet's asking, when do you add lemon and parsley?
Okay. So here, good reminder, Gurmeet. That's a great idea. So sometimes I'll even keep my parsley in a jar like this, as you can tell. And then I will so let's chop up our parsley if you have. So we're gonna use that for garnish. It's more for garnish than anything else. And again, if you don't like parsley, don't put it. And I usually will keep a little sprig like this, where I can just kind of put it in the middle and make it all pretty. So let's just cut off, and we're just gonna chop a little bit of our parsley, and I'm just gonna chop it into small, I just kind of crumble it up, crunch it up. I don't know, Divya, if you do it a different way. And
so I just bunch it up, so it automatically, when I cut it, I think we do it the same way.
So I do the same thing, and I like to wash most of my herbs and keep them, so when I want to use them, they're not wet at that time, because otherwise then it's hard to get that wonderful sprinkle feeling. So I do the same thing with cilantro, so I'll wash it, keep it, dry it.
So then I think, Ruchi, you and I do it differently then.
Oh, what do you do?
No, I do not. Let's talk about cilantro. Like if I bring, once it's home, I just wrap it in a paper towel and put it in the fridge. And then
it stays longer too.
Yeah.
Depending on the mood, but because when I use cilantro, and if I just kind of take it out, wash it, and then cut it, it's very wilty. And so I like that fresh, where I can just kind of, it just drops. And
so your method is a lot more work, and I'm lazy.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think it depends on the mood.
Beautiful.
Well, I put my daughter sitting in front of the TV with the whole thing of cilantro, and I'm like, and then so when I go to the grocery store, she goes, "Oh my God, are we cleaning cilantro?"
Cilantro. I think that's every Indian's nightmare.
Yeah.
Cilantro home.
So anyway, so Gurmeet, thank you for the reminder on parsley. I had forgotten that it was just a pretty little bowl sitting for me. And I have my stuff. So let's see, how long has it been? Now, I think I've had only 2 minutes over there. And my paella, how's your paella looking, everybody?
Did you turn the stove off and cover it?
Yes, I did. I did say I'm going to turn it off. Did I not say that?
I'm not sure, but guys, if your liquid has evaporated, go ahead and cover it and leave it alone.
Yeah, just let it be. Let it just sit. And if you don't have, the other thing that I do is I will take foil paper, and you can just cover it with foil, just simple, just cover it and let it just sit. So it's not like, oh my God, it's got to be fully covered. And
so Ruchi, that's like dum biryani.
Yeah. Well, don't they also put that atta in the?
Right. Like if you want to go all out with the atta, but yeah.
Yeah, I've just always loved how to cook, and I enjoy it. So it's always just been fun to cook all these things. And I think through COVID, some of my favorite cuisines to cook have been Ethiopian and Korean. And the other day I made veggie sushi summer roll. So I mixed summer roll and sushi and made these, and it came out wonderful. And you just buy all different color carrots, my daughter was like, I've never seen so many different color carrots, and they just were really pretty in color, and it looks great. You can even use it in your cooking. So it just
So
adds a dash of color.
something new I tried, Ruchi, which I hadn't, was Korean bibimbap.
Oh, you have to give me that recipe.
Yes, I'm going to. It's such a. It's easy, but a lot of components. So
Yeah,
I'm slowly writing it.
yeah.
But it came out great, and yeah. So I had never tried Korean food at home, so that's something.
Yeah, I hadn't either, honestly, but it turned out really good. And so my friend Dimple and I actually share quite a bit of recipes back and forth. She's not a social media person, so she doesn't post or anything, but she'll send me photos, and I'll send her. So
So Ruchi, your bhabhi Shilpa is there online.
okay, hello, Bobby. So okay, so should Vivek, can you get me a white plate on that? So I think I'm gonna check on my tofu again. We're actually 6:32, so we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think we timed it pretty well, Ruchi. So I think everyone, like, just give me a thumbs up or something, like, let me know, because I know we have quite a few people cooking, and I think a lot of people are busy cooking and not on their computers. That's okay too. So if you have a child or like a grown-up teenager, just ask them to punch something on the computer to say you're at a good place, or if you have a question. But so we are going to pull the tofu out and then just plate the paella. Hi Vivek, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Are you ready?
I just want to let you guys know that there's a competition going on between, right now, the lead is Dimple and I in terms of whose name gets dropped the most. You drop mine next.
I heard Dimple once or twice and Vivek at least 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
So I think I'm officially in the lead.
You're winning. You're winning. The hubby is winning.
Looking pretty good, actually, guys. And it's crispy-fied up enough. And if I were not to serve this right now, I could crispify it even more. So it depends on what crispy level you like. I know some people kind of like it soft, and some people like it like that. So, or like it crispy. So what I'm gonna do, I want to show you. I know we're getting to the point where we're gonna get off and.
So I just want to say something, Ruchi. Priya saying it doesn't count if you don't say John.
Yes, it doesn't count if I don't say John. So I am just going to plate them on my little plate that I had set up for you guys to see. And here.
So one thing about tofu I wanted to say, guys, it's always important to press it and remove the excess moisture. No matter what dish I cook, like that's step one always.
Yeah, that is one thing I have learned as well. So I want to show you guys a little fun thing when you're plating. And again, you may all do this and all of that stuff. Let me see, like my paella. Ooh, it's looking really good. Hopefully everyone's is looking good too. And remember, take a picture, because you can't eat before you take a picture nowadays. The camera's got to eat.
Yeah, I have to share this. I think I shared it with you, Ruchi. This morning, my 6-year-old son was eating toast and he was taking a picture of it from my phone. And his sister Nisa asked, why are you taking a picture? And he said, aren't we supposed to take pictures of everything we eat these days?
I wonder whose son he is now. So I will actually take a little bowl. So if you wanted to make it look pretty, for if you're plating individual plating, so I take it like in a little glass bowl and I press it down a little bit, right? And then
Ruchita's asking, Ruchita's asking, do we add lime juice to the paella?
You know what? You can add it. I usually just serve it with, and people can add it depending on their taste. Okay. Because sometimes people don't like it. So it'll also look really good, which I was saying I forgot to prep but you can actually cut off a little wedge. If my helper would like to help me, he could cut some lime wedges for me. And we could, and then basically you could put it on the side, just wedges. And then I take my plate, and then I've got my little bowl while it's still warm, and I'm gonna do this. Lay it in the middle, and you take it off. And you've got this perfect volcano looking,
Wow.
right?
Like this is something only Ruchi can teach us.
You take your parsley, you sprinkle it around.
I'm learning too.
And it looks thing, and if you have like even like a little bit of your salsa drizzle, and you can put it in a little, I have a little bottle. So you can put sauces in here, you can put sriracha in here, and you literally could just make a little design.
Right. Okay. So what does Vivek have for us there?
Oh, look, he's got, so he's got the wedges of lemon. So you can put the wedge right here because some people may like it, some people may not. Jana, can you turn my oven off? And then you take your little parsley that we had saved before and you put it in the middle.
And this looks like a fancy.
And there you go. I mean, it's like at a fancy, yeah. And when we were in Spain, Vivek and I actually went back to the same, you would think there's so many paella places, and there were, but there was one place that had the best veggie paella. So we actually went back twice, and maybe I'm lying, maybe it was 3 times, but we just loved it because it was so good. And
I'll need that name.
Because a lot of places have seafood and I don't eat seafood. I'm mentally allergic to it, not actually physically allergic to it. So,
right.
I don't enjoy it. So this is the perfect, we have this and we have our tofu, and you can even put the lime wedges on your tofu plate so people can sprinkle it on here. So, and you know, the other thing you could always add, if you do it with paneer, throw some chaat masala on there, like just whatever you like. I honestly believe in mixing and matching flavors.
Yeah,
I don't
fusion. Yeah, fusion food.
Yeah, fusion. And you can even sprinkle some parsley on top of your tofu. Actually, I just bought a little parsley plant from Trader Joe's to plant it today.
You know, okay, that's something we didn't do this weekend. I was supposed to plant parsley because this is the time to plant parsley outside. So thank you for telling me that Trader Joe's has it because I'm due to go there.
Yeah. So anyway, here is our food and we're done, and you can pair it up with your favorite, whatever you like to drink with it, or a dessert. And
this is fancy, Ruchi. This is really fancy. You went above and beyond and like even showing us how to plate it.
Well, I thought this would be really fun because to me, this is the most fun part of cooking, is to make it look all pretty.
Right.
And so I was asking John yesterday if I should do this, and he's like, yeah, because that's so you. So just show it. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And of course, even the bottles you can get in different sizes. You get them on Amazon or even at Hobby Lobby or wherever. And just, you know, even when you're doing chocolate drizzle on your cakes or your plates, or just to do that squiggle, you're like, how did they do that? That's how they did it.
Right. And I use it for my cake drips also.
Yes. Like, but then you need the bigger one.
Yeah.
The bigger. Yeah.
So, Ruchi, what is that place in Scottsdale, the Spanish place that has
Tapas
Streeters?
Yes.
So Meghna and Vijeta, if you guys are watching, like we went there for Meghna's baby shower and for Vijeta's birthday 3 years ago, and we had so much fun eating paella. But I am telling you, this paella is better.
Yeah. And honestly, because you get it to your, and I was going to say, and I forgot to take it out, but you can serve it with like a side of olives, or even make some like, you know, potato dish with like you eat with mayo. It's like very common.
What do they call it? Bravas, patata bravas.
Yeah. I love it. And honestly, if you guys get a chance, go to Spain. I have to be a geek and say that I don't know if you watched a Bollywood movie called Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. It's one of our favorites. And part of it was set in Spain. So I actually Googled before we went to Spain where it was filmed. And we kind of went to those places just because of the view, not because of anything else, because it was just beautiful. So it was like the Costa Brava coast. And
Costa Brava, yes.
It was just beautiful.
So we haven't been, but I know who to ask when we plan our Spain trip.
Maybe you could take us with?
Yes, come on. That'll be fun. Like, I think you guys are a lot of fun. So I hope you guys are at So one thing I want you guys to do, everyone who did cook along, please take pictures and send us.
Yes,
You know,
post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram, tag Divya and I. And if it, you know, if we missed a few steps, I'm sorry, I apologize. And
I think no, Ruchi, that was great. I know she was very nervous about this whole thing, but Ruchi, this went flawlessly. Like, do not even, like, you were great.
maybe if I was okay enough, you can invite me back in a few months or whatever, and we can do
Yeah, oh, please, you're welcome anytime. Like, I know all these ladies. We didn't have any men join us today, so I will say ladies. I think I saw everything like go through.
Yeah.
But please send us pictures. Ruchi, you take pictures of your pretty food there.
Yeah.
And guys, we'll try and do this once a month. So if you would like to be a guest, like, you know, please, like, you know, contact me, like, you know, and we will definitely fit you in the schedule. And like Ruchi's page, Footprint the World on Instagram.
Too, and honestly, if you're looking for the recipe, I just posted it today. I was waiting for this cook along to happen before I posted it, so it's on footprinttheworld.com. Look that up, and there's lots of other recipes, and I talk about lots of other things, from mental health to writing to you name it, whatever. I just write from the heart. So that's about it. So, but yeah, look it up, and it's over there. And I hope you guys have a great dinner. Pair it up with your favorite wine or Coke or whatever you like to drink, and enjoy it.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone who joined us